Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudhiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistikhi. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24, Text 43. Manaha Brahmani Yunjanaha. Mano Brahmani Unjano. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24, Text 43. Sat Asataha Param Manaha Brahmani Sadasata Paramanaha Gunavabhase Viguna Gunavabhase Viguna Ekabhatya Anubhavite Ekabhatya Anubhavite Mano Brahmani Yunjano Yattat Sad Asata Param Gunavabhase Viguna Ekabhaktyānubhavite. Manaha, mind, Brahmani, on the Supreme, Yunjanaha, fixing, Yat, which, Tat, that, Sat Asataha, cause and effect, Param, beyond, Guna Avabhase, who manifests the three modes of material nature, Vigune, who is beyond the material modes, Eka Bhaktya, by exclusive devotion, Anubhavite, who is perceived. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation: He fixed his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, who is beyond cause and effect, who manifests the three modes of material nature, who is beyond those three modes, and who is perceived only through unfailing devotional service. Please repeat. He fixed his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parabrahman, who is beyond cause and effect, who manifests the three modes of material nature, who is beyond those three modes, and who is perceived only through unfailing devotional service. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Whenever there is bhakti, there must be three things present: the devotee, the devotion, and the Lord. Without these three, bhakta, bhakti, and Bhagavan, there is no meaning to the word bhakti. Kardamuni fixed his mind on the Supreme Brahman and realized him through bhakti or devotional service. This indicates that he fixed his mind on the personal feature of the Lord, because bhakti cannot be executed unless one has realization of the personal feature of the Absolute Truth. Gunava realized him through bhakti or devotional service. But it is this indicates that he fixed his the three modes of material nature are manifested. In other words, although the material energy is an emanation of the Supreme Lord, he is not affected as we are by the modes of material nature. We are conditioned souls, but he is not affected, although the material nature has emanated from him. He is the supreme living entity and is never affected by Maya, but we are subordinate, minute living entities, prone to be affected by the limitations of Maya. If he is in constant contact with the Supreme Lord by devotional service, the conditioned living entity also becomes freed from the infection of Maya. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Sagunan Samatitya. A person engaged in Krishna consciousness is at once liberated from the influence of the three modes of material nature. In other words, once the conditioned soul engages himself in devotional service, he also becomes liberated like the Lord. Dasansta Bhaktivedanta Parapoto Madhyana Timiran Dasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militham Ena Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Maitreya Rishi is explaining to Vidura about Kardama. After he left his house, took sannyas, here it is explained that he fixed his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mano Brahmani Yunjano. Manaha, mind, Brahmani, Parabrahman, that is Krishna. Yunjano, he fixed his mind. And who is that Lord? He is Sat Asataha Param. He is beyond cause and effect. In this material world, entire world is full of cause and effect. That's why you can try to understand by logic and reasoning. So most of the scientific methods, in fact the scientific thought process is that it has to be logical and based on reasoning. This is because Sat Asataha, this world is like that. Everywhere you see there is a cause and everywhere you will see there is an effect. Behind every effect there is a cause and behind the cause there is an effect. So Sat Asataha Param, this world is like that, but he is beyond. Gunava Bhase Viguna. Actually from him the whole three modes of material nature are emanating, but he is Viguna. He is beyond the three modes. And then Eka Bhaktyanu Bhavite, and he is perceived only by unfailing devotional service. Eka Bhaktya. There is no Dvibhaktya, Tribhaktya. That means little bit bhakti, little bit jnana, little bit karma, little bit sense gratification. That is not called Eka Bhaktya. So, Eka Bhaktyanu Bhavite, only such devotees will be able to perceive Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna is not perceivable by any of these techniques. Sad asataha, cause and effect calculations, and gunava bhavid. Any process of this material nature will not be able to reveal who Krishna is, because he is Padam. So this is Kardammuni's status. He is a pure devotee. We can see he is able to perceive the Lord by unfailing devotional service. Generally, the three modes of material nature means everybody will have three limitations. Ullangita trividha sima. There are three types of limitations are there. Sima, boundaries are there. Trividha, what are those boundaries? There are three types of boundaries. One is the time, one is the space, and one more is the thought. Everybody is caught up in these three: space, time, and thought. And they put a invisible limitation on every conditioned soul. It could be time limitations, it could be space limitations, or it could be thought limitations. He may have a lot of time, lot of space, but if his thinking is limited, then his actions and his advancement will be limited. So everybody is bound by these three. There is time and space and thought limitations. For example, the time limitations we all know. We all have to execute our duties considering the time limitations. For example, if we come at 8 o'clock in the morning and think that I should attend Mangalarti, there is a time limitation there. You cannot, you have no control. And then you want to have a big palatial eco-village in the center of the city. Very nice idea. Idea is good, but where is the land? There is a space limitation. You can only have 6 acres. Otherwise we want 600. Prabhupada got that 600. And then because of thought limitations, that 600 was not properly retained. So even if you have big space, then comes the thought, limitations of the thought. So conditioned soul is very miserly in its thought process, very petty-minded. And if the thought process can broaden, then he is known as Mahatma. Mahatma means his thought process is very broad. Duratma or Krupana, Atma means a thought process is very, very, very narrow. And if somebody takes up Krishna consciousness, what happens is the thoughts starts broadening up, widening up. Generally, conditioned soul doesn't think about welfare of others. Not easy. Few people will try to do some welfare activities, but actual reason is his own sense gratification. It's not that he is really wanting to help somebody else. So, genuine welfare work is impossible for a conditioned soul. But when somebody becomes a devotee, he genuinely works for the welfare of others. This is the nature of a Vaishnava. He thinks of the welfare. He genuinely wants them to chant Hare Krishna. He genuinely wants them to read some Prabhupada books. He takes a lot of hardships to distribute books, to distribute Harinam, and to distribute Prasad. In fact, this food distribution, the many people, they think about it, talk about it, and they really want to do it also. But you see how many people are able to do in this world. Only Akshay Patra could do. Who else could do? Every single day, almost 23 lakhs. You should sit on this number and go on thinking. This is not ordinary. Looks like there is no seema, trividha seema. There is no boundary. There is no limitation. In the beginning days, I remember in the Krishna consciousness, when we just took up, if there is a difficulty in the life, or if there is some problem with others, I used to think, okay, this difficulty, what a nasty difficulty it is, and what kind of a problem he is creating, somebody is creating. And there is, then I came across one letter. Are the external circumstances under which the difficulty took place are the cause of the difficulty itself? Some circumstances have created a difficulty. We think those circumstances are the cause. Prabhupada is saying that is not the fact. In this material world, there is always some difficulty, no matter in this situation or in that situation. Therefore, simply by changing my status of occupation or my status of life, that will not help anything. Because the real fact is that if there is any difficulty with others, that is my lack of Krishna consciousness, not theirs. Is this clear? Krishna says that his dearest devotee is one who doesn't put others into difficulty. In fact, who puts no one other into difficulty. So try to judge the matter on these points, whether or not you are putting either your wife or yourself into some difficulty. He is writing a letter. Prabhupada is writing a letter to somebody saying, see that you are not putting yourself or others into the difficulty. So if there is a problem with somebody else, difficulty with others, that is my lack of Krishna consciousness, not theirs. Now this is a broadening of the thought process. We always think, okay, these circumstances are not good. If I can change my circumstances, I will be very happy. This department is not good. This service is not good. This company is not good. And then if I can change something, then I will be happy. Always we think that those circumstances, those difficulties are the cause. But Bhagavad Gita is saying that's not the cause. The cause is your lack of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we may say this person is difficulty, that person is difficulty. But real difficulty is not they, but real difficulty is my own lack of Krishna consciousness. How to see the situation, how to consider these difficulties, how to consider various issues with others, this is what is lacking. So, immediately when you read Bhagavad Gita, it broadens up your thinking. Bhagavad Gita is not something which is meant for some, after some time or when I reach some level and all that. It is meant for us. It is meant for conditioned soul. So, every conditioned soul thinks, he is cause, this is the cause, situation is the cause, institution is the cause. So many ways we think like that. And sometimes we feel if I can change it, then probably I will be very happy. I can very happily execute my devotional service. Sometimes they think, okay, in the city means so many disturbances. Let me go to Himalaya, let me go to some forest. No disturbance, nobody will come. There is no disturbance in the mind. No, that is your lack of Krishna consciousness. After going there also, you will get disturbed. One Rishi, he went deep inside the water body and is meditating, and then he saw two fishes, mating with each other. That's all. He is fully disturbed, and then he comes out, and then he pursues his path. So it's not that the difficulties are only outside. There are inside difficulties. But finally, what is your consciousness? That has to be seen. So, in this world, one is these three limitations are there: time, space, and thought. And because of these limitations, it is not easy to understand others. Not at all. For example, you think that is a problem, then you will not be able to understand. Or sometimes time constraints. Let us say you're just about to, your train is about to leave, and then on the platform you met somebody, and then you're trying to understand who is he, but there is no time. So this time, space, and thoughts, they constrain your understanding of this world. They constrain your understanding of other personalities. So just to understand others, how we are conditioned, we can see. So with this kind of a scenario, with this kind of limitations, how can we understand somebody who is Sat Asatah Param, who is beyond these calculations of cause and effect? Now this is the question. How can we ever understand? So this Gunava Bhase Vigunaha, in this purport, if you see, Prabhupada repeatedly says that Krishna is not affected by Maya. Krishna is beyond Maya. Now this is an important understanding. If we think Krishna or Krishna's body is made up of this Maya, then he is known as Mayavadi. If somebody thinks Krishna's body is Maya, he is a Mayavadi. Devotee's thinking is Krishna is beyond these three modes. Param, Sat Asataha Param, Gunava Bhase Vigunaha. So, since he is beyond these three modes, within the three modes only we are not able to understand others. Now he is beyond the three modes, it's impossible to understand Krishna. That's why it's called Ullangita Trividha Sima. Krishna's position is that he is beyond these three seemas, the limitations of the conditioned soul. Brahma Samhita also says, Pantastu Koti Shatavassara Sampragamyo. Even if you travel, your vehicle is, say, made up of a mind. Yes, that means in the mind you travel very fast to understand Krishna. It says Pantastu Koti Shatavassara. Koti Shatavassara. Sampragamyo. Millions and millions of years you may travel on the vehicle of mind, but still you will not be able to understand Krishna. Our mind is limited, intelligence is limited, our thoughts are limited. If somebody understands this, that I am limited in my understanding, I am very, very limited in my abilities and understanding, actually his path of liberation begins. Conditioned living entity is always proud about his assets. whatever he has got, is always very proud. But if somebody accepts his limitations, yes, I am under the control of time, space and thoughts, my thoughts are very poor, I am a fallen person. What do I know? And somebody just accepts in the mind, his real path of knowledge begins. Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter says, the path of knowledge begins with humility, accepting our limitations. Accepting that, yes, I am not worthy of any respect. I give respect to the Vaishnavas who are doing very nice services, and I am actually not worthy. It's not that I am doing so much service, nobody is recognizing me. But whereas somebody else is not doing anything, but he is getting all the recognition. See how we are always controlled by our thought process. Changing the thought process is only possible by Eka Bhakti exclusive and unfailing devotional service. What it means we don't know. What is this exclusive, unfailing devotional service? And that is why we have to approach a pure spiritual master who can guide us. What is this exclusive, unfailing devotional service? He doesn't fail in his devotional service at any time. Time limitations, space limitations, thought limitations are not there. He is always absorbed in devotional service to Krishna. We all asleep nicely in the night, but a pure devotee, he has no such sleep. Even apparently he is sleeping, but in the sleep also he is completely awake in the service of the Supreme Lord. So what we see that apparently Prabhupada or a pure devotee may be going through all these things, these are all our own concoction, our limitations. He is 24 hours is absorbed in Krishna's service, Krishna Leela. So, externally it may appear that we are able to see this way or that way. Apparently he has some limitations, sometimes not able to recollect some shloka, not able to committing some mistakes. These are all our limitations. To see a fault in a pure devotee is our fault. To see a mistake in him is our mistake. How to understand this unfailing devotional service? That has to be learned. One has to regularly read and hear Prabhupada's Vani. If he has no such inclination, then he will remain very narrow-minded. Even in devotional service, actually the process is so powerful, the devotees slowly they become very broad-minded. They understand, okay, everything is part of the plan of the Supreme Lord. He doesn't keep anything in his mind which disturbs devotional service. This is the key. Pure devotee means he doesn't allow his emotions, his thoughts, anything to interrupt his devotional service to Krishna. This is called Eka Bhaktyanu Bhavite. That bhava, that kind of an attitude, it doesn't allow anything to disturb his devotional service to Krishna, and that too pure devotional service. So that's why he carefully follows what he heard from his spiritual master, that's all. He doesn't want to deviate from his spiritual master. This is very important. So if somebody can undeviatingly take up Prabhupada instructions, then he will be Eka Bhaktyanu Bhavite. He will be situated in unfailing devotional service. For a disciple of Prabhupada, his words, his service, his mission is all in all. That is his life. Prabhupada says, one should not even consider his personal advancement. One should not think about anything personal. He is always contemplating on Guru's mission and Guru's how I can execute the Guru's order. Now this is Eka Bhaktyanu. He doesn't even bother whether I am advancing or not advancing. So this is here, Prabhupada is saying here, yeah, if I consider, yes, let me take advantage. Here is saying, mature understanding of Krishna consciousness means, this is mature. What is that? Whatever condition of life I am in at present, whatever, wherever I am, as a brahmachari, as a grihastha, in particular service, this service or that service, that is Krishna's special mercy upon me. Therefore, let me take advantage in the best way possible to spread this Krishna consciousness movement and conduct my spiritual master's mission. Now this is the mood of a devotee. And then Prabhupada goes on to say, if I consider my own personal progress or happiness or any other thing personal, that is material consideration. That is material consideration. You have to focus on Guru's mission. Oh, my rounds, my progress, my control of mind, my sense control, my bad habits, my. Now this is material consideration. If a devotee goes on thinking about Guru's mission, what can I do? Okay, I have all these issues, fine. What can I do now? Let me take best advantage of the current situation. Whatever problem I am facing now, that's also Krishna has sent. Let me deal with it. But without disturbing my services. Not that I have something, so let me stop all my services and I'll work on this. Let me do this, let me do that. No, this is not the mood. He continues to execute his devotional service. Guru's mission is his life and soul. And everything else he adjusts in his mind. The thought process is called broad-minded. He doesn't allow anything to disturb his devotional service. What a wonderful formula. If some emotion is disturbing me, somebody is disturbing me, some situation is disturbing me, anything, any of these things, he doesn't allow it to disturb his own devotional service. My contribution to my spiritual life. My master is watching me, Prabhupada is seeing me, Gauranga is seeing me, Krishna is seeing me. That's all. I have to go on executing my services for their pleasure. Whether somebody else is seeing me, somebody else is recognizing me, somebody is not doing this, that, no such concept. He will not allow his personal calculations to creep into his devotional service. This is Eka Bhaktyanu Bhavita. That your mood should be like that. Always in the mood of giving service to Guru and Krishna. This is the devotion. So here, Kardamuni we are seeing, he is absorbed in this. Obviously, he is father of the Supreme Lord. He got the service of being a father of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Obviously, he is a Eka Bhaktya, is a pure devotee. So that's why Prabhupada is saying here, devotion, bhakti means there should be three things. You should know, I am offering to Lord. Whom are you serving? The Supreme Lord. And who is serving? Me. And what is that service? Whatever I am offering. That is the service. For example, you move this table from here to there. Now, whom are you serving this for? This table, you are moving from here to who is satisfied? Whom are you serving? It's Guru's mission. Guru's mission is to glorify Krishna. So Guru and Krishna are satisfied just by moving this table from here to its right position. Devotee should be conscious always. I am servant, serving the Supreme Lord, and this is my service. Let me do it nicely. See? These three things should be there in the consciousness. Bhakta, Bhakti and Bhagavan. Then otherwise there is no meaning to Bhakti. What happens is, we don't remain conscious of the Lord. We are offering to the Lord. Or we don't become conscious of our own position. I am serving the Lord. Or we don't focus on the work at all, service at all. So anywhere we can miss out on this bhakti process. So that's why we have to be very careful. Here Prabhupada, the first, Mano Brahmani Yunjano, he fixed his mind on Krishna. No, that is our goal. What is entire Krishna consciousness process summarized into? This is the summary. Mano Brahmani Yunjano. Fix the mind always on Krishna. Always on Krishna. Always think of Krishna and never forget Krishna. This is the process of Krishna consciousness. We are reminded again and again. And if somebody with a simple heart takes up this process, he will advance nicely. Because the process is simple. But